Welcome to the 2016-17 NFHS Rules Changes and Instructional Program. This year's presentation is divided into three parts: rules changes, questions and answers, and a short instructional piece. I am pleased to be here with Theresia Wynns, editor, NFHS Soccer Rules Book, and Ross Malone, NISOA Interscholastic Program Director. Ross and Theresia will be reviewing the rules changes. Ross will conduct a question and answer session, while I provide a short instructional session. The NFHS and NISOA have a strong working relationship. This joint program is one example of how the two organizations work together throughout the year. NISOA clinicians participate in high school soccer state meetings and clinics across the country, and also conduct a soccer breakout session at the NASO Summit. NFHS and NISOA want to enhance this relationship and assist the states more directly. NISOA has an interscholastic division that any high school soccer official can join for a minimum fee. By joining, the individual will have access to NISOA training programs and insurance. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the new editor for the NFHS Soccer Rules Book, Theresia Wynns.
Thanks, John, and thanks to NISOA for the strong working relationship we share. I want to take this opportunity to thank Mark Koski, former Soccer Rules Editor, for all that he has done for high school soccer over the past 10 years. Mark worked diligently to make high school soccer a more prominent sport within NFHS. He always strived for perfection, and his desire was to make sure that every athlete that wanted to participate in high school sports had the opportunity. Thanks, Mark, for a job well done. I joined the NFHS in July 2012 after serving 15 years on the Indiana High School Athletic Association staff as Assistant Commissioner. Prior to being asked to serve as the Soccer Rules Editor, I served in similar capacity for basketball and softball and staff liaison for officials education. I have also had the opportunity to serve as the NFHS liaison to the Officiating Development Alliance and the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame Board of Directors. In the area of softball, I served as the NFHS liaison to the Amateur Softball Association and the ASA Equipment Testing and Certification Committee. I have always been involved with education, and prior to going to the IHSAA, I had the opportunity to be a principal, assistant principal, and dean of students in the Warren Township School District. When in the classroom, I taught general science, health, and physical education. While I have never officiated soccer, I know what it's like to officiate the high school level. I have over 20 years of experience officiating basketball, volleyball, track and field, and swimming. I know firsthand the effort every official puts into his or her career to reach the highest level possible. I want to mention two initiatives that I am extremely excited about. The first is a cooperative effort with NISOA, where the NFHS will be posting educational training clips on the nfhs.org with the proper decisions and interpretations provided. This will be a great learning tool for all officials. The opportunity to observe a situation and then know exactly what the proper decision is will allow soccer officials to apply the decision in future games. The second is the development of an online officials course. It is anticipated that this will be available in 2017 for all officials.
I am sure you will agree that Theresia has had an outstanding career in sports and education of students. She is also very modest, since she didn't tell you that she received the Silver Medal Award and was inducted into the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame in 2009. She has also received the NFHS citation that same summer. All of this recognition is well deserved. Another important note is that NISOA has the philosophy of family first. This means that every official should put his/her family first, career second, and officiating third. This priority order should never be adjusted for any reason. Theresia firmly believes this and enjoys spending as much time as possible with her husband Joseph and daughter Whitley. Now Theresia and Ross will discuss the rules changes for 2016-17.
The first rule change deals with player equipment. A new rule 429 has been added to allow for a soft padded headband. This was previously in the rule book under player situations and now has been incorporated into the rule. The next rule change is the most significant and deals with offside. Rule 11.1.4 has a new sentence. A player in the offside position receiving the ball from an opponent who deliberately plays the ball except from a deliberate save is not considered to have gained an advantage.
This is a major change for officials. A detailed discussion about this change will be conducted later in the presentation. This change brings the NFHS Rules Book in line with other soccer rules-making bodies.
The penalty kick rule has been revised to reduce the penalty against the defending team. The wording of Rule 14.1.4 has been revised. Once the kicker starts his or her approach towards the ball, he or she may not interrupt his or her movement. Failure to kick the ball as specified will be considered a violation by the attacking team, and the appropriate penalties shall apply.
Prior to this change, if there was an infraction of the rule, the kick was retaken since the ball was not properly put into play. This allowed the attacking team a second chance if the goalkeeper saved the improper kick. If a player does not kick the ball as specified, there is not sufficient time for the referee to sound the whistle to stop play before the kick. Since the ball moved forward and is in play, under other sections of the rules book, this new change makes the play more consistent with all rules. Before this change, the referee would have to convince the defending team that a re-kick was proper. This can create a lot of problems in game management. Now, the referee stops the play and awards an indirect free kick to the defense.
The remaining rule changes are incorporated into Rule 18 definitions. 18.1.1 is gaining an advantage by being in that position. A player who plays a ball that rebounds to him or her off a goalpost or the crossbar after having been in an offside position, or a player who plays a ball that rebounds to him or her off an opponent after having been in an offside position. This now defines gaining an advantage and aligns NFHS with other rules and laws. 18.1.1, interfering with an opponent, is the next new definition. It reads that preventing an opponent from playing or being able to play the ball by clearly obstructing the opponent's line of vision or the movement of challenging an opponent for the ball. The term interfering with an opponent is in Rule 11.1.4, but it has never been defined.
It is important for the referee and/or assistant referee to determine if the attacking player is truly interfering. Just because a player is near the opponent, including the goalkeeper, does not necessarily mean there is interference. The officials must determine if that attacking player has any possible impact on the play and then make the decision with regard to interfering with play.
Interfering with play is the last definition added to Rule 18. Playing or touching the ball passed or touched by a teammate. Again, this is the same as other soccer laws and rules. There were several minor editorial changes made to the rules book to make rules more clear and/or eliminate unnecessary language. As each official studies the rules book, he or she will see these changes.
Thanks, Theresia. The NFHS Rules Committee works diligently throughout the year to make sure the soccer rules are clearly worded and up to date. We've had several rules questions sent via text, and I'm going to ask Ross to answer each of them. The first question comes from Rich in New Jersey. He states his local chapter uses the dual system of control for most varsity games. Many members feel that as trail official, they should not go too far past the halfway line so that there are no problems with quick reversals. Is this proper?
Even in the dual system, fitness is very important. The trail official must go as deep as possible to assist on observing fouls, especially off the ball. Another time the trail official should be in good position is during a corner kick. The trail official should be close to the edge of the penalty area to assist during this game-critical situation.
Don from Maryland poses an interesting play situation. On a corner kick, there is a lot of jockeying for position. There is an attacker in front of the goalkeeper, and the defense is marking the opponents closely. The kick is taken, and there is a lot of contact by both teams. The goalkeeper is working to get around the opponent. The ball hits the goalpost and rebounds towards the side of the penalty area. Several players converge on it, and the attacker who took the kick strikes the ball and scores. Is this legal?
This is not a goal. The attacker played the ball a second time before it was touched or played by someone else. The referee can easily get involved in all of the action, and he or she can miss this call. It is critical for the referee to be ready for any and all situations.
The next question comes from Kelly in Nebraska and deals with a player who fell on his/her head and showed signs of a possible concussion. The injured player is removed, and there is no healthcare professional available to evaluate the player. Later, the same player is at the scorer's table waiting to enter the game as a substitute. What should the referee do?
Player safety is paramount and far more important than the result of the game. If the player had signs of a concussion as outlined in the NFHS Rules Book and has not been cleared by a healthcare professional, the referee should not allow him or her to re-enter the contest. The referee must be prepared to professionally respond to any questions the coach may have about this decision.
Tim in Texas asks about the role of the fourth official. Tim was assigned the playoff game last year as the fourth official. One of the coaches kept asking for clarity on what the referee called as a penalty and was the decision accurate. What should the fourth official do in this case?
The duties of the fourth official are very clear in the rules book. The fourth official should not provide information on the referee's decision. He or she should only deal with the coach in a polite and professional manner. Keep in mind, the coach who asks questions may just be doing so as part of gamesmanship tactics. The best procedure is to merely acknowledge the coach and advise that he or she can ask the referee a question at halftime or after the game.
Injuries and restarts can sometimes become confusing. Bill from Connecticut wants to know the proper restart after an injury.
The restart depends on several factors. If one team was in clear possession of the ball, the restart is an indirect free kick for the team that had possession. If neither team was in possession, the restart is a drop ball at the point where the ball was at the time of stoppage. Officials must remember the game is being played under NFHS rules and use the correct procedure. In the back of the rules book, there is a rule difference guide that is prepared by NYSOA annually that every official should study. This will help prevent an improper restart.
The next question comes from Fred in Colorado, who asked the following. The referee awards an indirect free kick, but fails to hold his or her hand above the head. The kick is taken and shot directly into the net. Since the referee did not hold his or her hand above the head, should the goal be allowed?
No. The foul that was called was for an indirect free kick. The fact that the referee did not use the proper mechanic does not change the decision. Since the ball was not touched or played by another player, the correct restart is a goal kick.
Armando from Florida would like some clarity on what constitutes a dangerous play. A skilled player makes a scissor kick and scores a goal. Is this allowed, or is it dangerous play?
Skilled players must be allowed to demonstrate their abilities. If no opponent was near the player, this is a good goal. If an opponent was near, the referee must determine if the scissor kick created a dangerous situation to the opponent. This is a judgment call and should not automatically be deemed dangerous.
During a highly contested game by two competitive teams, a defensive player commits a foul that would result in a direct free kick just inside the penalty area. Rachel in Massachusetts wants to know what the referee should do.
If the foul occurred within the penalty area, it is a penalty kick unless there is a clear advantage. The referee must display courage and make the proper decision. Some referees move the foul outside the penalty area or award an indirect free kick. This is improper. The referee must be confident and professional in this situation.
Diana from Texas would like to know the correct procedure for disqualifying a coach.
A coach who is disqualified must leave the vicinity of the playing area. In other words, sit in the bleachers or some other area where he or she can observe the game without participation. The coach cannot have any contact with the team for the remainder of the game. At the time of disqualification, the referee must determine if there is an assistant coach or other school official who can accept responsibility for the team. This individual must be clearly identified.
The last question comes from Kathy in California. What is the correct procedure for a player who is ejected during the halftime interval?
The player is ejected and the scorekeeper is notified of the ejection and the reason for it. The team does not play short in the second half since the incident occurred during the halftime.
Thanks, Ross, for the excellent answers to each of these questions. The most significant change to the NFHS rulebook is a change to Rule 11, offside. These changes now bring the rulebook in line with the NCAA rulebook and the FIFA laws of the game. The first thing an official must remember when dealing with offside is the basic rule that an attacking player is only to be punished for being in an offside position if he or she is interfering with play or an opponent, seeking to gain an advantage by being in that position, or involved in active play. Involved in active play is easy. If a ball is passed to an offside position and the player receives the ball, he or she is penalized for offside. The interference or seeking to gain an advantage are judgments that an official must make whenever a player is in an offside position. It is easy to avoid controversy by indicating that a player is offside just because he or she is in an offside position. Top officials know how to determine if there is truly infringement versus position. As more officials learn the skill, the offside decisions will become more consistent. An example of offside position versus infringement would be an attacking player moving the ball forward to the right of the goal. Near the left edge of the goal area, another attacking player is in the offside position. The player with the ball shoots and scores. Should the teammate be penalized for interfering with play and offside? No! There is no interference since the player was not involved with the shot on goal or interfering with the goalkeeper. Prior to this year, if an attacking player attempted to play a ball to a teammate in an offside position and the ball glanced off the defender and continued to the teammate, that player was judged to be offside, since at the moment the ball was played, he or she was in an offside position and gained an advantage. With the rule change, once the defender plays the ball, the player is no longer ruled offside and the play continues. This is a major difference, and all officials must be well versed and trained in this rule application. Prior to the beginning of the high school season, every official should think about various play situations that can result in an offside call or a good play. Being fully knowledgeable of the rule will prevent problems on the field. This concludes the 2016-17 NFHS Soccer Rules Changes and Instructional Presentation. A special thanks to Theresia Wynns and Ross Malone for their participation. I wish each and every NFHS soccer official a very successful season.